In this lesson, we'll continue a review of Math Test 9, Section 3, calculator on question 12 and 13. So getting a little bit further in this problem solving section. Number 12, which of the following is equivalent to the expression above for x is positive? All right, so you're going to see questions like this in the test where you just have to do some algebraic manipulation. And a good strategy to think about, if you have an equal sign where you have equations on both sides and when you manipulate, you obviously want to do the same to both sides. But if you don't have an equal sign, if it's just an equation, think about multiplying the equation by 1, and so, or a form of 1. So in this case, to combine these, we need to get the same denominator. So we have a 2x plus 1 on the bottom here and just a 5. And so you really can't combine those unless they have the same denominator. And the way you want to multiply it by 1 here is to how do we get that denominator? Well, we could just multiply this term alone, just the 5. I'm not changing the equation. We could just multiply it by 2x plus 1 over 2x plus 1. I haven't changed it at all, right? I'm just making it compatible so that I can combine these. And so then this becomes the right side of this equation. If we multiply this out, it becomes 10x plus 5. Right, I'm just multiplying across. I have the 2x plus 1. And then the original part, I have 1 over 2x plus 1. So I haven't changed it, but now I can combine these because when you're adding fractions with the same denominator, you're just adding the top over the denominator. So it's going to be 10x plus 6, that's on the top, over 2x plus 1. Okay, so the answer is D. Question 13, the graph of the function f in the xy plane above is a parabola. Which of the following defines f? So you really need to know your 3 forms of a parabola. You need to know standard form, intercept form, and vertex form. This is definitely vertex form, and it's really a pretty easy question if you're familiar with it. How do I identify the vertex? Well, when it's in vertex form, we know that it's going to be sum a. The function f of x is going to be sum a. Could be 1 sometimes. And it's going to be sum a, and then we have x minus h squared plus k, and h and k excuse me, are the vertex of the parabola, and it's the negative sign, it's the opposite sign inside the brackets. So if this were x minus 5 squared, that means the vertex would be positive 5 on the x, and the k is the y. So you just have to identify that. And so here's the vertex. This is the lowest point. It's an upward opening parabola. We know the vertex is 3, 1, and so we're looking for x minus 3, right? It's the opposite sign because it's positive 3. And so here's an x minus 3, and here's an x minus 3. Both of these work, and then 1, they're both 1. So the last step is we know it's going to be either A or C. How do we find which one? This one has no A, and this one has an A of 4. And if you follow these lessons, I've always reminded you, whether it's a linear equation or a parabola, anytime you're given a point on the line or on the function, it will satisfy the equation. And so how do we determine? I mean, one way students can look at this, but I really want you to know sort of the formal way of finding the A, if there is one. You can plug in any point in the equation and it'll satisfy it. And so I'm just going to plug in, we could plug in this or this. I'm just going to plug in 4 or 5. It doesn't matter. So the function, remember, f of x is the y. So the function y, 5, is x minus 3, so we're going to plug in a 4 here, so that's 4 minus 3 squared, which is just 1. So it's going to be 4 times 1 plus 1. Does this work? Yes, it does work. And so this one does not work, C. So that's how you do it. You have to know your vertex form and then plug in a point to find the A. So the answer here is A.